Okay, I would very much be a liar if I said that I'm not excited for this next season of Daredevil. I mean, it's been like almost 7 years since we've last seen these characters. Much of the original cast is coming back. Some shots from the trailer do look very good, but
It's Glendale Dingle here.
Yeah, I gotta say, as a longtime fan, I am worried about the show, and I think you should be too. So, if you care enough to know why, stick around and I'll show you. Now, the online discourse surrounding the show seems to be very positive, and recently the review embargo just lifted and the responses have been very good. But what we gotta remember here is that this is not Daredevil Season 4, this is not made by the same people who made the original. This is Daredevil Born Again under Disney, a company that as of late has made some very interesting choices with their shows. Like, imagine you're Disney, okay? You just canceled the Netflix universe, all those characters, gone. Trash. And then what do? You bring back Kingpin. Of course you do, because he's a fan favorite character. The actor is nice. Let's do it, sure. What do you do with him? You make him act stupid and fucking die. He got shot in the eye. He's dead. He's fucking dead. But wait, we're not done with him. Let's bring him back. Yeah, let's shoehorn in Echo into his story. Kind of retconning Vanessa, but okay. And then what do? We have him act stupid and fucking die again. No, okay, I'm kidding. He doesn't die. No, but he pretty much got character assassinated. This is not Kingpin, so yeah. But do you know what the people really want? They want us to do Daredevil again. Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's bring him back. Let's go. Let's bring him back. Let's bring Charlie Cox back as Foggy Nelson. They were gonna do that. What the fuck? Yeah, no, okay, let's bring back Charlie Cox as Daredevil, sure. Yeah, we throw him in as a cameo in No Way Home, the fans are gonna love that, okay, cool. And then what's the first thing we do with him? We have him be a happy-go-lucky love interest to She-Hulk and then do a walk of shame after having sex with her. Oh look, he can materialize out of thin air too now. Our writers are geniuses. Okay, yeah, you get the idea, I'm done with the bit. But these mistakes the writers make aren't all centered around Daredevil, of course. All their shows fail in one way or another. None of them ever reach the thematic consistency or character work that Daredevil manages to. Like, okay, let's exclude all the comedic shows, cause it's not really fair to compare them. Let's keep only the ones with a grittier vibe to them, you know, the ones that try hard to do something darker. So what do we have? Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It attempts to tackle real-life problems, but only scraping the surface while providing no satisfying commentary.
You've got to do better, Senator.
Moon Knight attempts a deeper psychological exploration of a character, but it ends up being superficial and rushed, as well as too over-reliant on a contrived plot. Echo, the series where they teased Daredevil again, and brought back Kingpin to shoehorn in Echo into his story. It ends up a bland show, with superficial characters, simplistic plot, and one of the worst final battles I've ever seen. We have Secret Invasion, which completely botches any world building with its plot and has Fury acting completely out of character. And it has one of the most unsatisfying plots ever made. The conclusion to this is just embarrassing. Also, as a side note, if killing Kingpin and bringing him back again is a sign of anything, it's that the MCU world building has been completely obliterated. How would they explain how Fisk went from a lifetime sentence in jail to mayor in 5 years? And honestly, there's a dissonance here. With Kingpin simply coming back, it makes for Nadim's sacrifice in much of Season 3 not to mean much. Like, I guess Matt should have killed him in the end. Like, will Echo ever be brought up in this series? Will She-Hulk ever be brought up? The blip, an insane event that happened in this world, will it be brought up in this series? Like, will we know how it affected Matt and his friends? Probably not. So yeah, this series is already up to a rough start, you can say. It's clear that Disney doesn't know how to write a gritty show, or a comedic one for that matter. And upon a recent rewatch of Daredevil, I came to a realization of why it succeeds where Disney shows fail. Daredevil's strongest point is a good balance of story, characters, themes, and choreography. And I know what you're thinking, yeah, like, I know this realization is kind of bland and yeah, no shit, if the story and characters are good, then the show is better, yeah, of course. But the key word here is balance. It manages to balance very well how characters interact, with how the plot goes along, and with the themes that encompass all of this. Let's take a look at Season 1, Episode 2. One of the themes established and continuously explored by the show is perseverance in the face of defeat. We see this in fights, we see this in resolutions of conflicts in the show, and we hear it from Matt's father in this episode.
You got all this for losing?
Sometimes, even when you get knocked down, you can still win.
It ain't how you hit the mat.
It's how you get up. That's right.
In it, we get flashbacks of Matt's life after he was blinded and up to the point where his father gets killed by his criminal superiors after throwing a boxing match to give Matt something to be proud of. This was something Matt himself encouraged and something that haunts him forever. Concurrent to this, we have older Matt beaten and nearly killed, already establishing that this is a show where the main character is vulnerable and why he can be outsmarted. He is not untouchable. He walked into a trap after the Russian mob kidnapped a child to attract him. He is brought back to his feet by Claire, a nurse. Through their conversation, themes emerge. Matt's guilt and his fear of his darker side, as he enjoys beating up criminals despite his violence injuring his Catholic faith. He faces the guilt of putting others in danger, keeping his identity a secret, something that later harms his relationships. Another theme is justice and morality. Do ends justify the means? Matt refuses to kill, even when criminals deserve it, in part because of his Catholic guilt. This is contrasted directly by the show's main antagonist, whose objective very much aligns with Daredevil, to save Hell's Kitchen, but their ideological differences put them in direct conflict with each other. Anyway, after dealing with some Russians who tracked him to Claire's apartment, he goes against her advice and storms the place where the kidnapped boy is being kept. He does this while injured, despite having lost to them already, because he'd lost a family member before, and he will not let this happen again to anyone else. He fights. Through the fight, we see the theme. We see his determination, his perseverance. His punches are weak yet unrelenting. We don't shy away from him getting hit because in a real fight, no one comes out unscathed. It is brutal, it is realistic, and ultimately, he wins. He reunites a child with their father in a way he perhaps wished could be done for himself. It's a brilliant episode where we build character, themes, we tell Matt's backstory, and we conclude it all with one of the best action scenes ever filmed. It's perfect. And this wasn't an accident. This show was built on solid creative foundations. It was created by Drew Goddard initially, who had previously worked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel's final seasons, shows that understood structure and respected the audience's intelligence. He pitched the intention of a crime noir movie, which then became the show. He wrote the first 2 episodes and then left the project. But the show was then taken over by fellow Buffy and Angel writer Stephen DeKnight, who complemented well into what Goddard had written. Both of them wanted realistic fights, and through the Buffy and Angel influence, we have characters, themes, and plot interacting in a balanced way. The showrunners for the first 3 seasons were Stephen S. DeKnight, who'd worked on Spartacus, Smallville, and Buffy and Angel, as I said, Doug Petrie, who was a writer in Buffy and Angel, and Marco Ramirez, who was a writer in Season 5 of Sons of Anarchy. So yeah, all of these guys, they were established writers who were in the writing room for big shows. Let's see who they brought in to make Daredevil Born Again. Oh. And they were fired midway through? Oh no. How do you fuck up $1 million project this badly? Okay, let's break down the production hell that was the show. Daredevil Born Again was supposed to have a brand new cast, and they were gonna have Charlie Cox back as Foggy. I made a joke about that in the beginning, but if they had done that would have been so fucking disrespectful. Like, no, don't. You're basically spitting on the fans' faces. No. The 2 writers assigned to write the show originally were Chris Ord and Matt Corman. They hadn't really made anything of note before, and it was reported that the show was going to have a lighter approach to the character, possibly akin to what we saw in She-Hulk. But maybe because of the reception to Marvel recently, they got scared and decided to abort the show that was already mid-production. I wish to know what decisions were made here in this version of the series and what it would look like, but I'm glad it was scrapped. So then these 2 showrunners were fired, and they brought in this showrunner for Punisher, already teasing that they were going to have a darker tone now. Which was a good sign, but still mildly concerning, as this new showrunner would have to make do with the show that had already begun filming, so the morale probably wasn't so high there on the set. He would kind of have to Frankenstein the show, stitch up his version to what had already been filmed, and I wonder how that's going to go. Now that I think of it, this is a Frankenstein show that's continuing an old Dead show, so it's like Born Again, it's a zombified Frankenstein. Frankenby? A Zombenstein. So they course corrected. They decided to bring back Karen, they brought back Foggy, the same cast, they released an image online, and the response online was glorious. Originally, the show was going to have 18 episodes, but now they divided it, and then now this season is going to have 9, and then the next season is going to have 9. And they have already begun recording the second season, so that means they must be confident on this show. The directors being from Moon Knight can be a good sign, like that wasn't a bad aspect of that show. What worries me more is the writing. The writing team worries me. Punisher had some good moments in it, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I hope they do the fight choreography justice, like if the season doesn't have any hallway fights or a one-take fight in a hallway, anything involving a hallway, I am gonna riot. And I really hope they understood what made the original fight so good. We'll have to wait and see for that too. So apparently one of the writers was a lawyer, and he writes lawyer shows.
I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good for the show. I assume they're gonna have some courtroom scenes. So let's see what this guy brings to the table. We got a writer from Arrow, Flash. We got a writer who was a producer in The Walking Dead and Sandman. Why are there no Daredevil writers? They didn't bring a single writer from the original Daredevil. Why? Why? I really hope that Born Again is great. Daredevil is one of my favorite characters, and this cast has a place in my heart. I don't want to see it get ruined. The cast seems passionate about it, and Marvel seems to be very proud of it. But unfortunately, Disney has been too disappointing in the past for me to welcome this with open arms. They have squandered too many properties through mismanagement, weak storytelling, and studio mandates. And their shows have reflected this. They've mostly been forgotten. They generate hype when released, then never mentioned again, ever. For many fans, this is the last straw, and if Daredevil Born Again ends up being filled with the same lazy tropes, weak dialogue, character assassinations, and horrible action, then Marvel will officially be dead to me and for many of us. I will set the Zombenstein on fire and move on.
It's my own desire.
There's gotta be something we can blackmail her with. Just keep looking.